Hello and welcome back to Small Soldier. In today's video, I'll show you how to paint face and hands on our figure here in oil paints. This is the third part of the series I'm doing on oil paint techniques. There will be one more video coming up and it will deal with the uniform sections of our figure. Now, I know some of you have struggled in the past with painting figures and you feel it's maybe a daunting task to turn something into something that's acceptable to go with your dioramas or your armor models. I'm hoping by you watching this video that you'll see some of the techniques I use, the way I use the different mediums and where I'm placing the paint on the figure and how I blend everything, that it'll help you to achieve the results you're looking for. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hit the small soldier icon below, and that way you'll be notified of any videos I upload. So, without further ado, I guess let's go to the video and check it out. Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. I've created this video to show you my technique for painting in oils on figures. By no means is it the only method out there. It's just the way I do things, and hopefully you learn something from watching this video and you'll be able to apply it to your own figure painting techniques. Leave a comment below if you have any questions and I'll carry on that conversation later after the video. You want to mix your paint on a white surface. I'm using a tile here. The white surface just helps to show you the true color as you're mixing it. If you add something dark, you won't see the right tone, so that's why I use a white surface.
Hello, I'm Bob Ross.
I believe, every day's a good day when you paint.
So relax and paint some figures. If you're curious of the tool I'm using here, it's a palette knife, and you can find these at any quality art store or craft store such as Michael's, that kind of thing. I just like it because it's flexible and it allows me to really get in there and mix the paint thoroughly. So now I'll be adding white to the mix to get my base flesh tone, and from there I'll be adding more titanium white to create all the highlights used for the hands and the face. Always remember to pull from the previous pile of paint when you're mixing your highlights. This will keep the tones consistent. I would suggest using browns or reds or any other color than black when you're doing your shadows. Black can turn things pretty gray pretty quickly. I use black very sparingly when I'm doing, especially when I'm doing flesh tones.
I see nothing! I hear nothing! I see nothing!
as you can see, I've mixed up 3 dark shades and 3 light shades. You can alter these as you go along, just to change the tones, or if you need things darker or lighter. This is where the airbrush pre-shading comes in handy. You'll be able to tell from the previous step where to put your shadows and where to put your highlights. And the motion I'm using here is a stippling motion, running the brush through the paint and trying to get it as smooth as possible. I like to go through and add all the shadows first. So I go through my 3 tones of shadow and then go back in and add my 3 tones of highlight, and I just blend these as I go. Sometimes I'll go back and forth between highlights and shadows, but for the most part that's the way I like to work. The highlights will give you an idea if you're too dark or if you're too light, and if you have to go back in and add more shadow, and vice versa. When you're adding thinner to paint, you don't want to saturate the paint and make it into a soupy wash. You want it to be more the consistency of like a hand lotion, that sort of feel to it. That way you'll get a nice smooth area to blend the paint out with. Here I'm creating another shadow color, and this will be used for the bag underneath the eye. This just gives the impression of tiredness or weariness. I will mix, like I said, other colors to get darker shades for underneath the chin, underneath the nose, or areas that I feel just need a little more punch. Here's something you can learn from my mistakes. Always keep your brushes separate. You want a dark container and a light container. You don't want to cross-contaminate and end up with a big mess.
Do it! Just do it!
Believe me, do it. You'll be happy you did. As you're blending your highlights and shadows together, you may find that things start blending too much and everything's getting blended away. Tip for you here is to do all your shadows one day and let them sit overnight so they dry up a bit, and then go back in and add highlights the next. That way you're not destroying all the shadow areas as you're adding your highlights, and then you'll be able to see exactly what you need to do from that point. If you need to add more shadow back in, do that, let that dry for a day, and then go back and add highlights. I usually do that back and forth between shadows and highlights until I get the right look. From time to time, clean your palette, especially the highlights that you're using. They tend to draw in darker colors sometimes and get a little muddy.
makes me so mad!
Hands will be treated the same way as your face as far as colors go. The only difference will be depending on the way the hand is sitting on the figure. That will depend on where your light source is going to fall. But if you've appreciated everything and all the parts were kind of sitting on the figure, you should end up with shadows and highlights in the right spot. When painting all the fine detail on your figure, I like to wait till the oil is all dry, a day or two, and then I'll go back in with either acrylics or oils and touch things up or add fingernails or what have you. The reason I use acrylics for hair, it's easier just to blend things and build things up quicker. It dries quicker, so you can go back in and add different tones and shades as opposed to waiting for the oils to dry. And I generally will do eyes with acrylics as well. Again, with the hair, I'll usually add 3 different colors of shading and 3 different colors of highlights. It just gives the beard or mustache or hair more volume and gives it a little more three-dimensionality. Sorry for the next little bit here. I lost a bit of footage because of my ginormous head getting in the way.
Look at the size of that boy's head. It's like an orange on a toothpick. Well, that's a huge noggin. It's a virtual planetoid. Has its own weather system.
Yeah, this is what I've been told, apparently. And as always, I'd like to thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing and hit the small soldier icon below so you never miss an episode. Also, leave me a thumbs up and comment as well. I will talk to you guys next time.